Whoops. Just move that. Oh, damn it. Move this out of the way. Oh, of course. Just dropping stuff now. Sorry, guys. Okay. So today we will review a Netflix film called Malibu Rescue. There is a second part to this. I just discovered, I guess, they did parts back to back, and there's this, I guess, one season of a show. So clearly the show didn't do as well as the movies, so who knows, there could even be another part to the movie in 2021, I guess we'll see. So basically, the vibe I got from this movie was it was kind of like teenage or teeny bop version of Baywatch. Yeah, basically, it was just the teen version of Baywatch. So we kind of start off with this kid named Tyler. He's a troubled youth, I guess, in a way, or at least his parents think that he is, because his new stepdad and his mom, he gets caught for doing something at school that he shouldn't have been doing, skateboarding on school grounds, I guess, and then this other guy is kind of the school bully, so Tyler tries to take him on single-handedly, and as retaliation for what Tyler does to him, this other kid tries to run him down with his car, which is, typical teenage behavior. This movie was just filled with, some weird, overboard humor at certain parts. So Tyler gets in trouble, so his stepdad decides to put him into the Malibu Rescue group for lifeguards. So at first, Tyler just tries to get himself kicked out, which ends up being bad for the entire group. Eventually, he finds out that the owner of the Malibu Rescue is just basically taking on these kids because the mayor told him he had to, and he wants them all kicked out anyway. So then Tyler changes his mind on the approach he wants to take towards becoming a lifeguard, and he decides to actually pursue it and continue forward with it because now he wants to prove the owner of the Malibu Rescue wrong. So during all of this, I think the other girl's name was, the redhead's name was Lizzie. She is a little bit of a hothead, I guess you could say, kind of like Tyler, or her humor is, Lizzie. Her humor is a little odd at certain times. For a teenage movie, you wouldn't think that some of her humor is just a little out there for what this movie was trying to represent, I guess. Because at one point she says they're talking about beating the other guy, Brody, and she says, "Oh yeah, like in the race, not with a bat." Like, oh my god, this girl is just. And then at the very end race, this girl's humor is way out there for what it should be for this movie. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It's a little weird for a movie geared towards teens, or maybe that's the humor now. I don't know, but I just thought that was kind of odd. And then at the very end race, when they're doing the skills competition at the end, she says, "Yeah, let's murder him." And the whole group kind of looks at her and goes like, "Wow, yeah, I think she has some." Maybe she's supposed to have some sort of mental health problem. I don't know. Maybe that was their way of touching on that, if it was a little of an odd approach, but okay. I guess you can touch on that with humor, I suppose, in certain situations. Anyway. It was just an odd sense of humor for a girl that age to have, because I'm not really sure what the age group was supposed to be, because they're juniors, so I don't know whether they were already almost adults or what the story was there. Anyhow, so Tyler wants to, I'm kind of rambling on about other characters now. So Tyler wants to get kicked out, then he finds out, and then he ends up getting kicked out after Brody eggs him on to race him to the other end of the beach. But then he finds out that he was in the other jurisdiction, so the guy who owns Malibu Rescue can't actually kick him out, so he comes back to do the competition at the end of the movie. And their team leader in this movie, her name was it Dylan? I think it was Dylan. Yep, her name was Dylan. She's not really that confident in herself, but at the end, Tyler kind of tells her, you didn't need any of the cue cards that she had to help her out. She was doing a fantastic job on her own, just guiding them through, basically turning them from the worst team to the best team by the end of the competition. So you find out throughout the movie, there's this kid, was it Jimmy? Jimmy. I think it might have been Jimmy. Let me just see here. Where's the kid? Oh, Jeffy, right. This kid named Jeffy at least added some sort of humor to the movie because he's constantly doing all these shenanigans on the beach, including the last one that made me laugh the most probably, is where he steals a boat because his mother pays absolutely zero attention to him, and they're on the beach every single day, it seems, which is odd because, I mean, maybe there's not that much to do in Malibu, I don't really know. But it just seems odd that you would be going to the beach every day. There's got to be other things to do in Malibu, right? So, he steals this boat, ends up breaking the motor for it. So instead of finishing the competition against the Dogfish, which is the other team that they're basically the main competitors with, the team that Tyler is on, the Flounders, decide to go and save Jeffy instead. To which we find out that the owner of Malibu Rescue is trying to get the mayor to come and see how bad the Flounder team actually is, so he can get them kicked out because they're... What was it? I don't know. They weren't from Malibu themselves. They were outside of the city, I guess. Did he call them island kids? That might have been it. I can't remember. For some reason that's slipping my mind. Anyhow, so Jeffy breaks the motor on the boat. So they're trying to get him back. Tyler's able to jump onto Jeffy's boat. He realizes they're going to crash. It's this tiny little, like, rubber raft that hits this thing in the water, and then it blows up. It's still making me laugh right now when I go back and think about it, because I'm like, oh my god. It's like they tried to put some big, huge epic action scene into the very end of this movie just to kind of like put a little cherry on top, I guess. I don't really know what they were thinking there, but oh, that was funny. I guess for that I'll give this movie a 7 out of 10, just because humor-wise, at least there was some good humor in this movie. And that scene just made me laugh, because it was like, oh wow, they're trying to make this Netflix film into like almost like a Hollywood action film at the very end to make it look more heroic than it actually was. Anyway, I know that could potentially happen, an explosion, but for that scene, it just didn't make any sense. The boat could have just hit and kind of like deflated, and it would have, sold the scene enough for this movie. But that was kind of funny at the very end, just a large explosion. There was nothing to set it off or anything. It was just kind of funny. But yeah, they are able to save the mayor's son, Jeffy, after finding out that he is the mayor's son, so the guy who owns the Malibu Rescue ends up having to give them Tower 2. He doesn't want to give them Tower 1, obviously, because that would be too good for him, right? Even though they're probably the most reliable team to, I guess, save a person, because it doesn't actually show any other team doing that throughout the entire movie. And they even were the ones that risked their lives going into the water just to save a dummy after finding out that it was just a test dummy. So they actually put the most effort into actually caring about being a rescue team in this entire movie. So I would rate this movie a 7 out of 10, and I think that's all I have to say about this movie. It was basically just your average Netflix teeny bop type movie, but it did have some redeemable qualities, I guess. So for that, I'll give it a 7 out of 10, yeah. So please like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below your thoughts on this film if you've seen it already. If not, go see it just for the laughs, because, yeah, it was good just for that aspect. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye for now.